Hey, what's up, guys? It's Nikki, and welcome to the second episode of Trihards. Today, we're going to be reviewing the movie Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, which you guys may have seen in theaters. It came out last Friday, I believe, and I got two of my friends here who are usually here. Say what's up, dudes.
I am Ryan. Hello.
And I am Brian.
All right, so there's going to be three parts to this discussion. First part, we're going to do without spoilers. Second part, we're going to do it with spoilers. And the third part's going to be the final verdict. So if you want to skip the part where there's spoilers, because you're still going to see the movie, go ahead and click that time in the description. Go straight to the review part of the movie. But first off, I'd like to say, for a movie titled Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, think about this. There's a bunch of guys in suits sitting in a room coming up with movie ideas. How a movie like this was pitched and actually approved was incredible.
The thing is, the title kind of just captures you. I think that's the whole point of it. It was just to make you interested in this because Abraham Lincoln's not really the type that you would associate with vampire hunting. So I think that was the whole point of picking Abraham Lincoln himself.
Thing is, I do believe I read this from the paper. I can't remember exactly, but I believe the movie was based off of a book of the same name.
Yeah, they said that in the movie, I think, at the beginning.
Really?
I'm
Okay, I missed
based
that.
on some book,
What?
but yeah, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure this was based on a book, though, and I think they did the best possible job they could with a movie of that title, with that sort of concept.
It was some hardcore entertainment. If you can't accuse them of not providing a show with this movie.
Yeah, some of the things were questionable. We do have horse parkour somewhere in there, and no spoilers yet, but we do have horse parkour in there. We have some crazy things like horses coming in through walls, which, if you were riding a horse in real life, think about this, the realism was questionable in this movie. If you were riding a horse on a carriage, you probably wouldn't be able to convince them to drive in through a wall.
There's a lot of things. There's a lot of horse things.
That were
Like,
unrealistic in the movie. Yeah, horses are portrayed as extreme badasses.
Abe Lincoln was hit by a horse that was thrown at him, and he could just get back up and start running, doing parkour on other horses. But you know what? It's a movie.
For me, the action parts, the action scenes in the film, uh, those are pretty enjoyable, and it was unrealistic, I guess you can say that, but it's a vampire movie, obviously. So there's going to be really exaggerated things, and I guess that's what made it entertaining for me.
And when I was watching, especially the action parts, I found myself giggling, but it was the kind of giggling that comes from like watching a Krispy Kreme wrap. I'm like, this is so stupid, but so awesome at the same time. I don't even know like what the ratio is. Stupid to awesome.
I'm thinking it was a little more. I do see what you're saying about the funny parts, but I do think the level of awesome. I mean, those weren't the best fight scenes I've seen in my life, but they were pretty solid.
They're really good.
All right. Well, I think it's time to move to the part of the review, maybe the uh, huge chunk that I think will be a lot funnier. We're gonna put some spoilers in now, so if you guys don't want to watch them, like I said, click that time in the description, and you can skip ahead away from these spoilers if you still want to watch the movie.
Okay, starting off with the more big spoiler alerts. One of the most questionable things was obviously in the beginning after Henry recruited Abraham, and then he made him swing at a tree with an axe, and he told him to kind of uh, use his strength and find what gave him strength. And then by the end, Abraham was able to chop a tree that was like a foot in diameter, like clean off the trunk, and it exploded.
Yeah, it's mostly what hate uh, he had in him that fueled his ability to make that tree explode. But I know he was kind of super buff and he trained a lot. But as angry as I could get, I don't think I could knock out a tree like that. And that's sort of the unrealism in movies.
Hold on, hold on. Henry didn't say it was hate that like gave him strength. It was truth.
Come on,
Yeah, okay, what I'm
take your
saying. But he kept
file.
making him mad until he made the tree explode.
What I think is what you guys are overlooking. The most questionable part of that whole scene was how is he able to use an axe with a freaking, let's just say, 2-inch diameter wooden handle to chop down a 1 foot wide diameter tree. It's just not logical.
So what I'm saying is very similar to the video game Saints Row. They put pretty much no effort into the realism of this movie, which isn't a bad thing. I think that adds a little bit of comedy to the movie, which wasn't really intended.
That one part where that RJ keeps complaining about, where Abe meets his future wife, and she's like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "Abe, Lincoln."
Yeah, you keep
Like he
forgetting his name.
forgot it. That part was funny.
Well, yeah, more on the horse parkour scene where Jack Bartz and Abraham were jumping from horse to horse. The horse got hit. That was one of the craziest and most unique fight scenes I've seen in my life. I've never, in all my days of watching movies, although I don't watch too many movies, seen two guys fight jumping from horse to horse.
That's got to be one of the first good chase scenes that I've seen in a movie without cars. That's not a westerner.
The scene where Abraham fell down a cliff, or rolled down a cliff or whatever, and pulled out a gun from his
It's the
axe.
same scene.
Yeah,
That freaking cliff. Like they're like, oh my god, don't push me over the cliff. And then once they fall off the cliff, they're like, oh no, we're both fine. We can just walk around and beat each other up still. Like, I guess it's okay if the viewer just doesn't think about the cliff, but still, every time that's like,
yeah. So a lot of
yeah,
inconveniences in movies, things like getting hurt or having to reload your gun, are usually forgotten about. If you watch any movies that include lots of guns, any of the Terminator things, they never stop to reload. They pretty much like cut out every normal inconvenience of human life in movies. And I think that adds a little bit of the entertainment, but I do think that they need to remember that if you roll down a hill, you're probably going to break a bone.
yeah. I'm sorry, Lucas, but Luke Skywalker jumped off of that thing. It's game over for him. There isn't a hole that he could fall through that saves his life. BS. Come on now. That movie should have ended right there.
Yeah, so I feel like with the unrealistic things in movies, it kind of wakes you up from the trance of watching the movie. Like, wait a minute, that's not supposed to happen. Oh my god, I'm in a movie theater. Like, that's how I kind of feel when crazy things happen that don't happen in real life. But what I'm saying is it's fine for unrealism to be in movies, but since Abraham was a real person, and it's kind of like a documentary fake thing, sort of, that when something extremely, totally out there happens, it's totally unrealistic, it kind of wakes you up from the fact that you're watching a movie. So what they should have done is either played it out like this was a completely different world, or just played it completely to the book.
Then again, the reason why it's probably movies because so they can show you things that you've never seen before and just put it all together and try to make it entertaining for you. So I was totally okay with them rolling down the hill and keep fighting because you see that kind of stuff anyways.
Alright, so the part where Henry gets bitten was completely. I think that scene could have been done a lot better because it was super serious. Like the vampires were standing there after he got bitten. He was crawling on the ground, and he looked like super beat up, and his wife was dying. It was so dramatic. There was some dramatic background music to it. But Henry looked like the biggest derp ever after he got bitten. Like he's rolling his eyes and making these funny like mouth expressions. It was just hard to take that scene seriously, but it's supposed to be so serious.
No, to be honest, I didn't see the derpiness that everyone else saw in that scene. I mean, he's bit. He got chunks bit out of his neck, and he's turning into a vampire, and he's watching some weirdo that just bit him bite his woman. Like, what kind of face? He's got. What kind of face is he supposed to make?
The thing is, I think his face should be more in pain than derp. I got bitten by the vampire. That's what I thought was going through his mind or something. It didn't look like he was in pain. It just looked like I don't know. He was trying to make a funny face for a little kid.
It was like, I'm brutalized. I'm gonna just make funny faces for you. Yeah. And he's just watching his wife.
Like he didn't look serious or enough or in pain or anything.
The way I guess I would have pictured it is like after he got bit, he would be like clutching at his wound. He would like, kind of like just curl up into a ball, and then he would just burst out like vampire mode engaged. That's just kind of how I see it.
Just all within a few seconds, he turns into a vampire, grows teeth, and just turns into a bat and flies away.
Something like that.
Let's just give our final review. Is it worth watching? My answer is yes.
Yes.
I say yes, but don't be too serious about it. It's more of a action and comedy, but like 70% action, 30% comedy. So don't be all serious when you watch it. Watch it for fun.
Thing is, it wasn't intended for comedy, but we just screw around like that. But I can see what you're talking about in the comedy department. So I'm saying 4 out of 5 would be. That was a solid movie. It's one of the better ones I watched this year.
I'm giving it 3 out of 4 thrown horses.
4 out of 5 also.
All right. So if you want to watch any of my older videos, they should have already popped up on the screen, or they will in a second. Thank you guys for coming on, and that is pretty much it. And we are out.
Bye.
Bye.